Hey guys, let's go ahead and look at an example of identifying a function. All right, so we've talked about functions and we know that a function is represented when there are no repeating x values. All right, so for each x value, there is one and only one y value. A way we can remember that is that x cannot have any side checks. All right, so if an x already has a y value, it cannot repeat. So this question is asking which representation does not show y as a function of x. All right, so we know that a function x cannot repeat. So let's go ahead and look at our different representations. Remember, you may see a function represented in a table, a list of ordered pairs, a graph, or a mapping. All right, so this is a good example because it does show us all four representations. All right, so let's go through A. Remember, we're looking for the not, so we'll have three functions and one that is not a function. So let's look at our x values. So we have 1, 3, 5, and 7. All right, remember our rule is that x cannot repeat, so this would be a function. All right, so we can just label that with function. Because we are looking for the not, we can also eliminate that answer choice. All right, so we're one down. Remember, the x's do not repeat. Let's look at B. All right, B, with a graph, we use the vertical line test. All right, so a vertical line, remember, is one that is drawn up and down. Our vertical axis is the y-axis. All right, so that's one vertical line you can look at. But let's draw a few just to make sure that the line only passes through the graph one time. All right, so remember with our vertical line, we just want it to intersect the graph one time. Check our y-axis just once. All right, so it does pass the vertical line test. It only crosses on the graph one time. So this would be a function. So we can go ahead and eliminate B. Let's look at C. So C, we have a list of ordered pairs. Again, we're going to be looking at the x's, but let's take a minute here and look at the y values real fast. All right, so you can see here that the y values are all the same, okay? This is a very common thing that they do to trick you. Remember, it doesn't matter if the y values are repeating, okay? They can all have the same y value as long as the x values do not repeat. So we're going to do the same annotation basically that we did on our table. We're going to come through and we're just going to put a check mark. So we have 2, 3, 7, and 11. All right, 2, 3, 7, and 11. None of those numbers repeat, so we can see that we do have a function. All right, so process of elimination, we're left with D, but let's go ahead and verify. All right, so my favorite way to annotate a mapping is to color code. All right, so I should only have one arrow of each color. I'm going to use a different color for each x value. All right, so starting with 3, 3 goes to 2. But we can see that 3 also goes to 6. Because there are two green arrows, one going to the 2 and one going to the 6, this would not be a function. All right, that x value does repeat. We can see it does the same thing with the 5. So 5 and 6. 5 is also with 8. All right, so because those repeat, we know this is not a function. And because that's what we're looking for, D would be our answer. All right, so remember to always verify the X values. In a table, they'll typically be labeled. In an ordered pair, remember X is the first number. A mapping, you'll have one arrow from each X value, and a graph, we're going to use the vertical line test. As long as the line of the graph only crosses the vertical line one time, it is a function.